Greetings, all who roam this
Greetings,
world.
all who roam this
Greetings,
world.
all who roam this
We
world.
are the Quest Bros. I like how we all get so close to the microphones.
I really like deep throating it.
It's very fun.
Hey, we have this opportunity. Might as well abuse it.
I can just feel my voice touching your ear.
So if you're listening to this podcast right now, you're probably noticing the quality is immensely increased.
Yes. Also, we're sorry for whatever we just did 5 seconds ago.
Do not think of this as the standard now. This is very much a one-off. Maybe it'll happen again. But we have access to a podcast studio for a recording we're doing right now, for a different recording. So we figured, hey, let's actually record a podcast while we're here.
And it has been many a moon since we've done any sort of podcast.
So
Yeah.
So here today, we've got me, Anthony.
We've got me, Jared.
And Michael.
Yes. Only 3 of us today. That's
Yes.
okay. This room can also only fit 4 people. So even if we had all 5 of us, I don't know what we would do.
I mean, we'd run out of mics real quick.
Well, one of us, 2 of us rather, would share.
Yeah.
Well, there's only 4 chairs, so we're definitely going to have to get cozy.
Oh, yeah. Very cozy.
So welcome back to Side Quest, the Quest Bros podcast.
Oh, hey, yeah. There's that
We're
whole
already
thing.
We're already off.
What do we even talk about today? I've got a topic, but does anyone have a short topic or anything?
Oh. Well, I could go into my shower thought list.
For those who don't know, if this is your first Side Quest, there is no script, there is no plans. We don't really have topics or anything. We just kind of shoot the shit for an hour, maybe or so.
Unless somebody does have a topic for whatever.
Yeah, sometimes we write notes in our phone.
Yeah.
That's really it. And I think that's what Jared's reading through right now.
But no.
Yes. So, do you think police / court sketch artists also moonlight as Rule 34 artists purely because of how fast they are? Because a character gets introduced from any
Michael
fan.
gave me.
Not just the look, dead silence after he said it. I'm like, Jared, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, think about it. Like how fast courtroom sketch artists go. And then you also think about Rule 34 artists. The moment a new character is introduced,
Jared,
there's immediately porn of it. How does that work?
I would hope that that a sketch artist would not have to stoop so low as to draw furry porn to get by. However, these are hard times. I suppose there's probably somebody out there. If you are that poor person, I'm sorry that you have to do that, but the money is fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays though, what I've noticed a lot of people doing though is using AI to basically make the furry porn for them, but they still pay for it somehow.
When you could just type in that prompt yourself.
Yeah, but the thing is that furries really like their porn, but they're willing to pay for it. They value their time more than they value the money because they're like fucking nuclear engineers and shit.
If you're a furry,
can't relate.
If you're a furry and you're watching this, what do you do for a living that you have all this money?
Then this is why I keep saying
Yeah.
you should go to furry cons.
So we can get money for
because if we
furries?
put a tip jar out, they have the money.
Well, see, that jar is going to be filled with other things.
Yeah.
Many tips, you might say.
Somebody's going to drop a My Little Pony doll in that jar, and then we are never going to see it. It's just going to be mayonnaise.
Welcome to the cum zone. Only come inside anime girls. I won't continue because it gets intensely more graphic after that.
I don't even know the rest of it.
I do. In any case, my friends, yes, the furries do have lots of money, but they are also aggressively horny. And I mean aggressive. They're almost animals.
One might say they're anal.
I was going to say, one might say feral.
Oh, well, I think mine was better. No, but seriously though, at some point, Anthony, you are going to convince us to go to a furry convention. It just will not be with Matthew because he gets intensely uncomfortable.
I think he just can't resist his urges. I think that's what it is.
No,
See, now the thing is you're right that Matthew has an appreciation for the the quarter furry.
The
Yes.
quarter furries.
But beyond that, he's utterly disgusted by the degeneracy.
I love how now that we have these microphones, like all of us are like, we're talking really in this radio voice.
I'm doing it on purpose. But I mean, come on, how can you not? Though?
Yeah.
It's like right in front of you.
Yes.
It's like having the red button right in front of you and not pressing it. How would you not?
That didn't even
I
go off.
don't think that worked.
There it is.
I've got the soundboard.
He has the soundboard.
he has the
He has the
soundboard.
power. But one of these days, you will convince the group to go to a furry convention. However,
I have one stipulation.
yeah,
Okay.
okay, we have conditions.
I will need to go dressed as an Imperial officer from Star Wars.
Okay.
Elaborate.
Well,
I think Jared wants to be targeted.
Jared wants to be. He wants all the furries' attention.
See, the thing is if you go as a crusader to a furry convention, their first thought isn't going to be, this guy is like, anti-furry necessarily. It's more so, this guy is pretending to be anti-furry, and we're going to try to fuck him.
well, it's either that or
We're
go as the
gonna-
guardsman. 'Cause
We're going to seduce. It's kind of like, when homosexual men go after straight men to, grr.
I was gonna say that or go as like a guard or a Kriegsman from Warhammer 40K.
It will have the same effect, sir.
It would have the same effect and also be very accurate.
You know what,
But-
Jared,
but
though? This might
this
give
he
you your
knows.
chance.
I was gonna say, but do you remember what the result was that you said? What was the result of him doing this?
Oh, yes. You and I are on the same page,
Yes.
Anthony. This is a big brain play. Jared, you know what? I'm actually firmly of the opinion you should do this now. Get
We have
yourself
come full circle.
Get yourself a freaky furry femboy.
So Jared is going to be just dressing up, not as a furry at the furry con is what I got out of it.
Correct. I will go as Caiaphas Cain because that'd be hilarious.
So basically, hey, if you guys see us at a furry convention and anybody's interested, Jared is like the ducks at the park. He's free. You can just take him.
Don't advocate for my abduction. What the fuck?
I'm not advocating for your abduction.
Don't cheer
I'm,
for that.
I'm advocating for your seduction. But yeah,
Soundboard is going to be great.
you should
It
not
is.
have this power.
we should have a soundboard.
Yeah, I should be doing all the podcasts from in here from now on.
Honestly, yeah, no. That being said, though, Anthony, I believe you had another topic for us.
So this has been, depending on when this podcast comes out, it's probably not even going to be relevant anymore. But I'm sure
Probably
all of
not.
you are seeing this all over the internet, and I want to have the discussion with the group: who would win, a gorilla or 100 men?
Shit, yeah, this will be way after the fact.
Hopefully, the turnaround time will be good. I'll force this to come out earlier.
Sorry.
Probably the 100 men.
Oh, yeah, no, okay. So assuming that this is a fight to the death where fleeing is not the possibility.
Or at least like the 100 men there are like in the mindset of we are
Here's the
all
thing.
here.
Here's the thing. From a ecology behavioral standpoint, a gorilla would flee seeing 100 men,
Yes.
and 100 men would flee seeing a raging gorilla.
Yes.
Correct.
So this fight would not happen.
Yes.
So we have to presuppose that
This is a gladiator
that this
cage.
is both are intending to kill the other
Yeah.
without regard to their own life, basically.
Yes.
So in this case, 100 men would win
Yes, because the
every
men,
single time.
mainly, not only for the numbers, but the men can coordinate.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
Sheer numbers is way more powerful. If it was 10 men versus a gorilla, this would be a much, much more interesting discussion.
Yes.
Well, and I know a lot of people too that I see arguing the gorilla side too. One of them is we usually see gorillas in captivity where they don't have to. Yeah, they're still pretty big and bulky, but like they don't have to do really anything to survive. They just get their
They're just there.
resources. They don't have to fight for.
Yeah,
anything.
they're not quite as strong.
But yeah, gorilla like in the jungle right now, it's going to be significantly stronger.
And one that I might add is the alpha of its like tribe. I can't quite remember what the heck they're actually called. It's not pack. It's something else. But either way,
Family.
family might be a better word for it. Yeah, but when a silverback actually is the leader of its tribe, it is the strongest of the group by far.
Yeah.
Which means it's stronger than an average gorilla. But even considering that, it would not be a matter of strength for the 100 men versus the gorilla. It would be a testament of endurance.
Yes.
And there's no way that gorilla could rip through 100 men before running out of gas. It's just not possible. It's got too much bulk.
No, I think the men would have to be like 20s and 30s. They'd have to be just a good, even if they're just average strength endurance, I still think they do it. Now, if it's one-on-one, like a Pokemon battle where it's like you got the
One at a
gorilla,
time?
one at a
No.
time.
No.
I don't think the men do it. I think the
No,
gorilla
I
wins.
mean,
Now, here's a question for you.
it's still technically possible, though.
You've posed this thought to us before. Technically speaking, we have never seen a gorilla at full strength,
Yeah.
and that's just Donkey Kong. So I'm now pose this question to you: 100 men
Versus Donkey Kong.
versus Donkey Kong.
If Super Mario can do it by himself, if Little Mac can do it by himself, I think 100 men could do it.
So we think that the question doesn't really change.
I don't think the question
fundamentally?
changes. No.
I mean, does Donkey Kong even like per his own canon have anything
Like any abilities?
Any abilities?
No.
His coconut gun can fire in spurts.
Yeah, he gets items, but not ability. In the new Donkey Kong game that's coming out, he might actually now have like abilities, but like from the old like 64, besides like jumping and clapping and just being really strong, not really.
Now that being said, though, Donkey Kong is like human equivalent intelligence, though.
Give or take.
You know,
Yes.
I mean, compared to the Mario movie, yeah, because he can speak full coherent sentences.
It's just Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Who would win? Who would win? 100 men or Seth Rogen?
That depends. Is it Seth Rogen and his Rogen variants, where it's every role he's
Every
ever played?
version of Seth Rogen.
That would be an interesting question to catalog every single Seth Rogen like role and see just A, how many roles that is, and B,
How
what
different they are.
yeah,
Or does he one
how it
for
would-
all like absorb their abilities?
Yeah, how it would
in the
power
fight?
scale to have every Seth Rogen in a fight versus 100 men.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, does he have any like superhero roles he's done? I know he did like the Green Hornet, but that wasn't a superhero.
I mean, Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong. I know he's in Invincible.
Oh,
As the animal.
Alan, yeah.
Oh shit, he's busted as Alan.
Yeah,
Especially
that's what it would be. That would be what would win.
Oh, okay, so do I give like has anyone seen Invincible?
I've seen
Like,
the first season.
I've seen the first season. Too.
Okay. Well, then I won't say anything.
Damn.
But basically, Alan is actually a pretty strong character. He's got a sleeper build.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So if that role is included in this, it's not going to go well.
No.
I mean, even just out of what I've seen from season one, he puts up a fight with Invincible.
So yeah.
Just that in itself is already enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, that was the question. There wasn't much of a debate to it, so it didn't need to
No.
go that long.
I guess not.
Well,
but
I
we
mean,
answered,
Dan's not here to
we answered
act
the
as a
question.
debater.
No.
so-
Here's the thing. He would have 100% been on board once we brought Alan up for sure.
Yes.
Like, because that's just a superhero. That's like 100%. I'm gonna do.
Oh no, I meant like the whole man versus gorilla thing.
Oh yeah, he would have had some.
What I did
thoughts.
see though about the gorilla thing, the best way to defeat the gorilla, go for the genitals.
Yes. Anything vital like eyes or genitals for her for sure.
Well, because
yeah.
We're not here to fight fair.
There's a zoologist who was like on a radio show and someone asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, in the wild when gorillas do fight,
They
that's what they
rip-
do. They
yep,
go
yep,
for each other's
yep.
junk.
Exactly. Yep.
And then I was seeing joke posts where it's like, all right, you three guys are gonna hold one arm down, you guys are gonna hold another arm down. You're gonna do this.
guy
right, you're gonna
ripping
do
the
this right."
testicles,
No,
you
and he's
just
like, what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna suck him off. It's like, what?
What?
He's like, he's gonna be the most vulnerable, and then he's not gonna know what's coming, and then we're gonna come, and and then he's gonna be dead. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, well, yeah, like think about it. Like you're just the most vulnerable. You're just there. You're just in ecstasy, not thinking about it, just enjoying it. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of dudes just jumped you and got you. You would never expect it.
What the fuck? This guy just wants to suck cock. What the hell? No,
Just wants to goon with the gorilla.
no. This isn't. I mean, come on. Noah Silverback is just gonna be like, no.
Jared, do you have any other topics on your phone?
Well, that one's a history one, so Anthony's going to tune
Hell
out on
no.
that. It was basically what part of history do you think about the most? Anthony, it's obviously none. Yep, that's what's going on in his head. Because there's the meme of like, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
I mean, every once in a while, but like it's there are occasionally some like thought experiments of like, oh well, hey, what if the Black Death hadn't happened, or what if the Bronze Age collapse hadn't happened, or something like that. But it's like it's entirely just like kind of like a non-starter, because it's just like, well, you'd have no idea what would have happened afterwards had that not happened. So it's like it's kind of not really something that we can really do anything with, that kind of hypothetical.
I don't think I really think that far in the past. I honestly think like,
Yeah,
what if
more
COVID
recent-
didn't happen? I
More
was
recent
like,
history?
Yeah,
Yeah,
more recent.
That still counts as history.
Yeah, and like that's
Yeah.
usually like as far as I really go, because like to back then, it's like, yeah, things could change. There's a whole butterfly effect that could happen, but it's like, because I wasn't there, I didn't live it. I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. If anything, I probably think more about the future, on what things could be or what they might be. Than
what things are
about the-
going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about like where we're gonna be in like 1,000 years. As like just as an example, it's like,
Okay, so I asked this question then on the My Works podcast. So this is kind of, we're still relating, is if you could travel anywhere forward or backwards in time, which direction would you go and how far would you go? I always say I'd go to the future, but I wouldn't want to go too far, because if you go too far, the world's either completely destroyed or there's nothing here, like, or it's like the apocalypse.
Futurama did a pretty good representation of what that more or less would be like.
Yeah. So I'd probably only go, or everyone has left the earth, or it's like Wall-E at that point, if you go too far ahead. So I'd probably only go maybe 100 years.
Yeah, I mean that's a reasonable spitball to go for. I can't say that I would go to the past. There's just, you'd have to be pretty ambitious, I'm just gonna gently call it, to go to the past, because like you don't got anything but yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm saying like, you're not even going just to, if you were there to visit, or like you're there for like a day and then you come back. No, I'm saying like you go there and then you stay
you're
there.
stuck there. Right. It's like you go to the past, right? You get dysentery, you die. Like it just, your options in the past. Yeah, sure, the future could be worse, but like could also be better.
Could be, yeah. But I understand wanting to go to the past, because you get to relive some of the history, see it happen in real life, see if it was true, see what was, see what happened, what didn't really happen.
Well, an interesting angle you can go for as well, right? Like, you go to the future, right? Well, okay, kind of like with Futurama too. Whatever you have in your bank account or savings account, presumably is still there. You still have it, as long as you don't go too far ahead.
Yeah. Right.
And now you're like a millionaire, with the equivalent of a millionaire in the future. And as long as the world's not ended, you've got options. I mean, medicine, regardless, as long as civilization doesn't end, medicine will continue to improve, and you go to the future, cancer's cured. People live to like 150, and have a good time.
Oh, it could also be a Gargantia style future where the Earth is freezing, so you have one of two options. You either become a squid person or you go to space.
Yeah, the whole world could be underwater.
Yeah.
Could be like BioShock at that point. So Jared, where would you go?
See, because you mentioned the fact that you would stay there,
Yeah.
that would be the difficult part, because then I would just do something cheeky, which is go back in time, invest in Apple, go back here,
And then
claim the money, then go forward in time again, so that you're a millionaire
Sure.
thrice over.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you were looking to just like hack your normal life, the simplest answer would be I'd want to go even just like say 10 years back.
Yes.
And then whatever you happen to remember, you can ride all the waves at exactly, or even just roughly the right times. And you pretty much have like, you're set like 10 years back in the past, but you're fucking set.
But who knows? Like maybe then all that happens, and then like the moment we're at today like doesn't happen because of it. It's not just we're in a better spot and this happens. It's like,
Oh
like,
no, it
maybe
would
the
still,
Quest Bros never happened.
it would still disrupt, what
Yeah.
you were doing at that time.
Yeah, and that's the things I think about too, where it's like, cool, I could go back, I fix this, but because of everything that did happen is why I'm here now.
Butterfly
Like that.
effect.
Yeah, butterfly effect. Okay, well, so then Jared, if you were not stuck there, and I know you like to history, so where would you?
Yeah, if you had to go to the past.
If I had to go to the
Let's do
past,
that.
Yeah, sure.
oh God, there's so many options.
Yeah, there are options.
It wouldn't just be the Roman Empire, obviously.
There's at least 2,025 years worth and more, actually, of times you could visit.
There are. Yeah, you got that wrong immediately.
I don't know. It's really interesting though, because if I had to pick a time to go back to the past, honestly, the Republic era of Rome isn't actually a bad choice. Or you could even go like more so Imperial Rome, because honestly, Rome was on the cusp of like potential industrialization. Like they had like working concepts for automation, right? Like, but they just weren't quite like, they didn't quite invest into it enough. Like they saw it as toys, right? Or as
Right.
like just kind of fun hobby things rather than, oh yeah, hey, we could literally like,
We could make printing presses now.
we could use this steam machine idea to literally drive an enormous wagon across our entire road system. Like,
I always wondered too, like our knowledge that we have now, could we actually benefit just like one person? Could I convince people of my knowledge of
Yes.
the future?
oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like, do I even have the skills and the knowledge to actually like make a difference and like make an impact?
See, the irony is that you don't even necessarily need to have the direct knowledge of how to do the thing. But the fact that you know that it's possible and you know the rough idea of what it does, you could probably find
the person that could do
that
it.
could do it, and they'd
Or
hear,
people are just gonna think I'm a nutcase.
They'd hear what you'd say, like you'd find like an absolute like okay, imagine you went back to fucking Leonardo da Vinci,
Sure.
somebody who already was doing like absolutely revolutionary ideas and concepts for his time, and you basically had your knowledge of the future to further refine his designs and concepts well before his death. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could have like revolutionized society very early with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
I mean, with the basic knowledge of how airfoils work, you give that to Leonardo da Vinci, we would have planes before the Wright brothers ever made their first mark.
Yeah.
And Anthony, I gotta ask, when you imagine going to see Leonardo da Vinci, are you wearing a white hood?
My first thought was, Leo, how can you make this hidden blade so I don't have to cut my fingers off?
Leonardo, Ezio, I modified this because this is fucking stupid. You can keep your finger.
Yeah.
Also, I put a gun on it. What's a gun? I don't know.
It works like this.
Bang.
Skibbity blam.
Alakablam.
But yeah.
So, Jared, you would want to go to the Roman Empire? Is that what you're thinking?
Either
We keep sidetracking before you can answer.
Yeah, either the Roman Empire or, oh God, even, what was it? There was a certain charge, not during the 30 Years' War, but basically during the Balkans War, I think it was, it was the Charge of the Light Brigade, which was considered one of the worst military disasters ever, and was also the starting realization of, hey, because we're modernizing how warfare is, maybe we should stop bringing horses into the battlefield. Like
Charge
a bunch
recklessly with the cavalry.
Nah. And the British are like, nonsense. Cavalry charge, men. Right into the Gatling gun.
This guy thinks he's fucking Irwin from Attack on Titan.
My soldiers scream. But yeah, basically, I would try and stop that and be like, look, you posh British bastards, that is a very heavily defended hill. You have horses and no guns. What are you doing? It was basically a whole snafu of communication and a bunch of aforementioned posh British bastards who were all like, oh, I'm too important to be on the battlefield. Just send the peons.
Sure.
And I would just go in and start smacking them upside the head.
Charge the enemy single file.
Now I'm trying to think where I would go, but it's all my knowledge is based off Assassin's Creed. So it's like,
You,
Well,
you could go and visit the birth of jazz.
Even if you pick the Renaissance period, that is a very valid time period because the Renaissance period didn't even go like full blown, like it was a technological leap, but like it could have gone further.
sure.
You know what you could do? You could be the guy who pushes Cesare Borgia off the cliff.
Then I leave you in the hands of fate.
That whole conspiracy is freaking wild, like the aftermath, because they just straight up started murdering anyone associated to the Borgia, including the Pope.
See, I was thinking I would want to go to like the time of the pyramids.
Yeah,
and, like,
Egypt is also an option for sure.
and see how that actually, because everyone's always like, how did they do this?
It's math.
Yeah.
They just use math. There's no aliens. It's just math.
But what if the pyramids, Jared? What if they're
But this one hieroglyphic looks like a spaceship. It's like, yeah, and that one is a bird. What's your point?
Why are there no people inside the pyramids, Jared?
There are people inside the
No,
pyramids.
there was one guy inside a pyramid, and that's all they ever found, Jared. They're not crypts, they're spaceships. I know it.
Or maybe like the Library of Alexandria.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the thing is you couldn't stop. You can't stop the burning of the library.
But I would want to know why and who did it, and then if they were still alive after burning it, fucking murder them.
What would happen if you stopped it?
Well, you would have saved basically the greatest reservoir of knowledge of the world at that time. But the thing is that the reason why that doesn't matter nearly as much as you think it does, like in the grand scheme of things, is because before the printing press, like the books were important in the sense that like those were the reservoirs of knowledge that they had, but it's not like all that many people really benefited from them because
Not everyone could read anyway.
no, only the scribes and scholars of the time had access to those anyway, and it's just like, well, you know, wasn't doing very much in the grand scheme of things.
I would also try and find the Rosetta Stone before the French.
Yeah, honestly, you going back as
Like
a
earlier.
modern human, you probably possess more valuable knowledge than the entirety of the Great Library of Alexandria.
Yeah.
But as I understand it, wasn't it that the city of Alexandria was being sacked, and they basically burned it down as like a statement, more or less?
I believe you are right.
It was something to
sacking.
that. It was something to that effect, where a conquering like warlord basically just burned it down as a fuck you, something like that.
It might have been during the Ptolemaic Wars between Cleopatra and her brother. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'd have to brush up.
Well, we have the technology.
We do have the technology. Jamie, pull that shit up.
Another time period I would like to go to is like to the time of Jesus, and just see
Dude, that'd be wild.
what's this dude about?
That'd be so interesting.
Because I always think too, it's like you got to think over time, like as people are writing the Bible, it's definitely a giant game of telephone. People are reading it, hearing it, and then rewriting it over and over and over. You're telling me no one slipped in their own agendas where they're like,
It's been a thought of mine. More to the point, like a classic example of it is the fact that Jesus's name isn't actually even technically Jesus. It's several like mistranslations basically stacked on top of each other. The common historian theory on what it's actually named, it's actually based off of and written in Hebrew originally as basically Joshua, but with a Y. But it's, like, so it's Yeshua, basically.
sure.
Some say it's like Joseph, son of Joseph, or Yeshua, son of Joseph.
More or less.
So technically speaking, Jesus is a JoJo. I mean, he is canon.
A fucking JoJo reference?
I mean-
RKO out of nowhere.
He is canon in Steel Ball Run, so I'm not wrong.
Isn't that
Literally,
the one that's coming out next?
yes. Do you want to know what the basic plot is?
Isn't it just like a journey across?
It's a horse race across America to find the body of Jesus Christ,
All right. Hell yeah.
which is probably the least insane JoJo's plot ever.
Isn't the dude like missing legs or something like that?
He can't walk. He
can't walk, okay.
He still has his legs.
Okay.
Okay, so
I need to catch up on JoJo's. I'm still in like part 3.
Yeah, I stopped after part 5, and I've just not gotten around to part 6 and on.
part 6 is pretty good. I can attest. It's that's the one that takes place in Italy.
Sure.
So a little bit of basic research. So there apparently were 3 separate burnings of the Library of Alexandria.
First 2 times didn't work.
No, Julius Caesar was the first. That's the one that we know. A fire did damage parts of the library during the Alexandrian War, but it wasn't fully destroyed. Many of the texts were also in other libraries. The sack of Serapeum in 391 CE, it's a daughter library and temple, was destroyed by the Christians, likely causing further damage to the library's holding. And then there was the Arab conquest of 641. That's the one that did the final blow to the Library of Alexandria, likely being attributed. Sorry, I read that wrong. Likely being attributed to religious decree. So, to answer your question, it was 641 by the Arabs with a torch. If we're going the clue method of explaining the death of the Library of Alexandria.
All right.
The more you know.
Yes. You're not going to retain any of that, are you?
Nope. Once you started reading, I zoned out.
Okay, so all right, so let's
Easiest way to explain it.
I just know there were 3 parts.
Caesar, Christians, Muslims.
Sure. Okay.
That's all. That's basically it. That's the order of events on who burned the Library of Alexandria.
Jared is doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down on this explanation to make sure Anthony is really still
He
not
hates
listening.
history.
I don't hate history. I just don't find it entertaining.
It's not his passion.
You played the Assassin's Creed games. That's
But
half
he's
of the game.
You're basically living the history rather
that's
than
different.
hearing it.
Yeah.
A lecture is less interesting than an experiencing of it.
Yeah. I'd rather go to the museum than sit in a lecture.
Fair point.
Kind of funny because you get lectured at the museums, but walking the streets of Venice is a lot more interesting than hearing about the streets of Venice. It's just kind of how it is. Venezia. Anyway, had to throw that in there for the fucking.
I suppose meeting Plato is better than just learning about Plato.
Correct. Behold, a man. As I gesture with the naked chicken.
mad
Yes,
dog of
Plato,
Thebes.
I shall taketh a shit in your lecture hall.
Yes, it is I, the mad dog of Thebes. Let me piss on you to prove my point.
Okay, but because I wanted us to kind of discuss this question. So in the April dice skit, right? We talked about, or the prompt was, what is your favorite fantasy setting, right? Okay, well, let's discuss it, boys.
Yeah, we never
If-
gave our answers to it.
If you had to be in a fantasy setting, what would it be?
It's either going to be Legend of Zelda or wherever the fuck Gate is. They never really explain what the name of the world is.
But that's good enough.
But that's good enough.
enough. You know what's funny?
Did you also
Jared,
think Gate?
Well, no, Jared. Well, you know what that technically means, though, right? That means you're the one getting basically colonized by the Japanese because you'd be part of that world, not the Japanese that are going into it. You're ready to get gunned down by the Japanese Defense Force, Jared?
Are you? Boy, I would definitely be a philosopher, not a soldier. Even though that was exactly what Plato was, but we're not going to get into that.
Conscripts, Jared. Imperial conscripts.
So I guess my question for the question, am I also taking in consideration that a disaster is going to happen in this world, or am I living in it peacefully? So like in Hyrule, there's the chance that a calamity or Ganondorf is going to happen. If it's in the Mushroom Kingdom, that Bowser's going to try and take over. If it's in the freaking Kirby's Planet Popstar, that a space being is going to come and just try and destroy the thing. Or is it just as the world is normal, everything is good and great?
Well, like, okay, a good example is like, okay, let's take Skyrim, for instance.
Sure.
Let's say that you're like in that
Am I
particular-
just an NPC during that?
Yeah, you're basically in that you're in that like setting, but it's not as though you're just automatically like scripted to die or something.
Yeah.
But like those things can still happen. You're like just kind of it's almost like random. Like think about it like your position in the timeline is somewhat random in that like, oh, well, you could be in the world after the main events of this particular franchise or game, or before, and you don't really know.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
kind of
am
like
I in,
life.
Am I in the fourth era? Or
Yeah, I was gonna
whatever it
say,
is?
I don't know if I'm gonna be hit by like, a random natural disaster like this year, but it could happen.
Yeah.
But hey, I still like living here.
Yeah. Well, and I'm trying to think too, is like, what is not going to be the most difficult to live in? As in, like, if it is Skyrim, man, I'm having to farm, I'm having to hunt for my food and stuff. Like, things aren't
Yeah,
as easy.
Skyrim is
same with
not
Zelda.
an easy setting.
Same with Zelda too. Like, not a lot of it is just done. And I don't want to be like Persona. That's just fucking Japan.
That's also not a fantasy world. That, like you said,
Yeah.
it's just Japan.
it's just
with
Japan.
Weird
I've
magic.
been just trying to think of like my favorite games too.
Yeah.
And a lot of them is either like really bad or it's really hard.
I mean,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16, I think that's the latest one. That one is a fairly interesting one. It sucks if you're a magic user, though, because you're basically treated like a second-class citizen.
Well, I'm thinking like I don't even get any of those abilities. Like if I'm in Hyrule, I'm not the hero of time. I'm just literally
no, you're just a dude.
Let's
Yeah.
presume that you're not the main character. That you could, by random luck of the draw, be a reasonably like strong like individual for the world, but you're not main character. Like, come on, like it's the same equivalent of like, okay, well, like none of us are the equivalent of a main character in reality. So it's like, why would we be any different anywhere else?
Yeah.
So
Do you have an answer for it, Michael?
I've been thinking about it
Yeah,
as we've
okay.
been talking about it because admittedly
He's been
it's-
distracting us. Clever.
yeah, basically. Yeah, jingly keys. Yeah, I have to give it some thought because it's like, despite the fact that I love so many fantasy settings, most of them would suck to live in, unequivocally.
Now, here's something that may cause debate.
Yeah.
Would Star Wars be on the table?
Yeah, I think it would.
It's a fantasy setting. As
Okay.
far as I'm concerned, it's a fantasy setting.
Yeah.
With that, in that regard, I will then say Star Wars because I know damn well I'm not a Jedi. I can't use the Force, but I could be a bounty hunter. I could also just be a freighter pilot. Like, I can still.
What would you
do
want your home
cool
planet to be?
things. Not Tatooine.
I
don't
think
like
I think
sand.
that's fairly easy. If we're taking it from a luck of the draw standpoint, you'd be more likely on a city planet.
Yeah, either probably one of the core worlds or mid rim.
Yeah,
Like,
more likely than not.
Oh God, what was it? Seat of not the Empire. That would be Coruscant. Seat of the Separatist Alliance. Raxus.
Yeah.
No, I know we're saying too, you don't really get to pick a time, but for Star Wars, since it's very interesting, at least like from the content of Star Wars, is there a certain time in the Star Wars timeline like you would want to be in?
Well, for
Like, do you want to just be before everything? Do you want to just be after all the Skywalker saga? Would you rather be between, like, around the prequel series?
I was gonna say probably between the events of Phantom Menace and Acolyte.
Okay.
So like High Republic era, where it's slowly getting into that decline.
I would think as far as the Star Wars timeline is concerned, it would either the objectively best parts of the timeline to be in would probably be post OG trilogy,
So post Empire.
post Empire, because like that's like when like basically all Jedi, all Sith are dead. The galaxy is probably the most peaceful it ever is going to be, and then probably arguably like Old Republic era to some degree, but like there's still a lot more conflict going on. But like that was arguably like, you know, still probably like, oh, I mean, times were relatively fine up until like, you know, Sith Wars started happening, in which case then it was like, oh, well, now there's a Sith Empire.
Why is there a giant man in the sky and why is he eating my planet?
Yeah, bad times. But I mean, like the scale of Star Wars is like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yes.
Like you could very well be lucky enough to go an entire 3 generations without some massive galaxy-wide war Sith crisis going on. Like, yeah.
So speaking of giant man in the sky eating planets, do like the superheroes universes count? Does it depend?
I'm gonna go with no because it's still technically Earth.
Yeah, it feels kind of not in line with the question, in my opinion. But then again, that also rules out things like Star Trek, for instance.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would probably answer Star Trek if that was on the table, because like that's utopian society, basically.
Harry Potter as well.
Yeah, Harry Potter would be out.
Because like
Magicians as well.
my thought, I had kind of mentioned it in the giveaway video too, which was Ready Player One, but it's because I would want to live in that opportunity to use the Oasis and like really experience like a
Trust me,
fully
if the
augmented
background if the background lore of Ready Player One, if the setting itself didn't suck so much ass,
Yeah.
I'd be 100% on board. But like I've been racking my brain trying to think, is there anything like Ready Player One that isn't dystopian?
Yeah, no,
I was
it
gonna
is
say-
kind of dystopian. The world is kind of shitty. I mean, also we only do hear about like Ohio, which I think is where the character.
Ohio is already dystopian. Like all they did was add VR and they stacked
Well,
up the trailer
way
park.
they describe it in the book, because I read the book, basically like everywhere is either like shantytown wasteland or corporate urban mega city dystopia. Like you're
unless
just
you have money.
Yes.
and that the latter is if you have money.
Yeah.
The former is your shanty town, and that's about all you get. Like high speed internet, water, and metal sheet framing over your head is about the best you got.
But then again, if you have the Oasis and
But
you
you
can
still
just
have high-speed
live in
internet.
there basically, and it is like so realistic, do you need anything better?
Damn, this is okay. So now we're getting into like a fucking philosophical debate now about like human need and simulated.
Anthony, do you want to hook an IV up to your body just so you can stay in the Oasis forever?
Oh, so that's what. So Ready Player 2, I read the book for that one, and like Ready Player 1 and
Matrix.
2 are the only books like I've ever read. I hate reading. I can't do. My ADD doesn't let me read. But those are the two
Man,
books that I can only
unfortunate.
get through.
We need to get him the novelization of the Assassin's Creed books.
How about audiobooks?
Okay, if I'm gonna be honest, I listened to Ready Player 1 and 2.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
I think I read 1, but then for Ready Player 2, I listened to. I do physically own it. Anyways, yeah, if we're counting audiobooks, I'd have a lot more that I've gone through. But as I was saying,
We're also not counting manga.
No, I'm not counting that. Ready Player 2, like it is kind of like Sword Art Online, where they do have like it's like connecting into their brains, and like you're able then to like fully feel everything and really like touch and experience it, and not just be a suit that like gets warm or just like puts a little pressure on you. Like you're actually able to live in that and really experience it. Of course, there's so many not benefit. What's the opposite of a benefit?
Detriments.
Yeah, detriments that happen because you're literally then just sitting still for so long. I think they do have some. They made it so it's like you can only be in the Oasis for 10 hours and then you have to take like a 12-hour break or 8-hour break before you can even go in again or something like that.
Yeah, so you don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, they say it makes the world a lot better because of it. And so maybe that's the alternative to it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if real world ever cracks, even half dive VR, not even the full dive stuff, like holy shit, it'll get way more like that book
Than anyone would want.
than anyone would even consider. It's honestly so very possible.
Well, because interesting, like VR chat is the closest thing we have to it.
It is, and it's still a fairly decent representation of like from a sociological point how it would go. Like, I mean, the kind of social framework that already has is like, okay, now take that and basically blow it up to like full population scale, and you have the sensation of like your senses thrown in the mix as well.
And it's like even if it just looked better, like moved better.
yeah.
Because like I mean, you see clips online, and like, some people do have it, so it does move a little bit. But it's stiff.
It will only get better.
Yeah.
Like some of the high end, like 3D model rigs that they have now are light years ahead of what we had 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's increasing at an exponential rate. And if you start throwing this AI stuff in the bag too, AI is cutting down production times on all this shit so fast.
One videos that I always find entertaining because I think it's ridiculous is when people are in VR chat and then they like mess with people that like literally play it daily.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, please don't walk through me. I have phantom sense. So like I can feel you walk into me when you do that." And the dude's like, "Huh?" And then does it again, and then they freak out. And I'm like, I mean, someone who doesn't play it, and I mean, we've played it a couple times, but like doesn't experience it like that. I can't comprehend this phantom sense. And like, how can you not?
Okay, have you ever
know the difference?
Have you ever seen the video where somebody will literally have a fake hand next to their real hand, separated by like a cardboard like sleeve, basically, but they can only see the fake hand?
Yeah.
And they start like
Yeah.
touching,
Like I can feel it.
and the weird thing is it works.
Yeah.
It's super bizarre, but it's basically like that, especially if you're doing it all the time.
Yeah.
Your mind like basically imagines the real world. It doesn't actually like exist in the real world.
I think
right?
it's just I can't comprehend that on such a big scale of you can
How
feel
easily you
someone
can get
walking
tricked,
into you.
right.
And it's like, what do you mean you can feel that?
Something just went inside me.
Well, a good example, right? Like if somebody goes to basically like make a fist, like a punch towards your face, you flinch.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like the same thing, like where, you know, if something like starts to move through you in VR, your brain will reflexively think that something's about to hit it.
Yeah.
So I mean, but that sounds like somebody's having like a fucking schizo attack over it, which
Yeah.
is a little
I'll show you guys some clips after.
yeah.
So I just remembered something based off of what I think you said about AI becoming powerful with the whole direwolves thing,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
at least the hybrid.
It
wolves.
is a hybridization.
People are saying, well, now we can bring back the dinosaurs. I'm like, okay, there are at least 5 movies on why that's a bad idea, and they all begin with Jurassic. On top of that, we've got someone teaching robots how to
Backflip.
like how to do martial arts, and I'm like, okay, there are 5 reasons why that's a bad idea, and they all begin with Terminator. So now I'm thinking, wait, I have the perfect idea. We have the robots fight the dinosaurs. Genius. Two birds with one stone.
Yeah, I would watch that. I'd pay to watch
to
that.
watch.
And you know the interesting thing about so the thing is that using robots, like humanoid robots, as like soldiers, logistically doesn't make any sense at all.
It makes no sense. Also, it won't end well because all you need to do is just pop an EMP and
Yeah, I mean they move slow, like they're not terribly strong for their size. They're not gonna move faster in reaction time than a human being. Like they're just. Why would you use a Terminator? You know, when you could literally just have a drone carry a grenade.
I mean, in the lore of Terminator, Skynet sets off a nuke, a lot of nukes. So that kind of explains that whole uprising. But you do make a very good point.
Well, I'm just saying from a military technological standpoint, there's a
Yes.
reason why no modern military is investing in robotics for, land infantry application. It just doesn't make any sense.
I would like to see some mech suits. I know it's not going to be like Gundam level, but it would be still pretty cool.
Sorry, Jared. Hate to damper on that parade, but tanks are very effective.
Look, if Japan can make a working Gundam in Yokohama, they can make it work for warfare. And if they can have the go ahead to make, like, start gene splicing humans with animals, they can make a mech that works.
That's a different conversation entirely.
Yes,
Cat
it is, I
girls,
know.
Jared. No.
We don't have Matt for this conversation, unfortunately.
That's okay. He would be dead silent that entire conversation. He would not want to participate.
And yet the silence would speak volumes.
It would indeed. That being said, though, there's something you said though, like it wasn't about the Terminator thing. It was about something else.
The dinosaurs?
No, I think it was. Oh yeah, well, yeah, we can talk about the dinosaurs too. Yeah, like I mean, no, they're not going to be bringing dinosaurs back anytime soon.
And
Like,
if they do, don't bring back the meat eaters.
well, here's the thing.
People want that.
This is reality, right? And they even toyed with this idea in like the Jurassic
World.
World series, where these dinosaurs would for sure have like kill switches basically implanted into them, and they would work.
Yes.
Undeniably, they would work. Like, and no, they would not be smart enough to dig it out on their own or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no fucking way. This scenario would basically like not happen unless that sort of technology happened back in like the 1960s or something. You know, back when like security technology was just not even anywhere close. Phones
Right.
were a rarity, you know. Monitoring just wasn't what it was like it is today. But today, like, it would be very minimal problem at all, like, honestly. Yeah, should we be bringing back fucking velociraptors, megaraptors? No.
No.
Probably not. I mean, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't resurrect dinosaurs in general. They'd really struggle in today's
Atmosphere.
biosphere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we bring back the woolly mammoth, though? That'd be pretty
We
sick.
actually are kind of working on that, though. So they actually managed to isolate the genes for like woolly mammoth hair, and they basically gene splice it into mice. So they're basically woolly mice.
That's adorable.
They are very cute. So you know they're working slowly on that. They don't. The reason why the direwolf thing was so successful is that they were just lucky enough to find like an enormous stockpile of genetic material for the dire wolves that they were able to cobble something back together. But like, I mean, if we ever were fortunate enough to find something equivalent for the woolly mammoth, which we haven't, then it would be trivial. We'd just have to find an elephant basically and just do the same thing there. Mammoths are alive again.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Goes to Africa. Oh, look, here's one.
Yeah, but the scientists spent so much time thinking whether they could that they didn't start to think if they should. Life finds a way. Have you ever heard of the law of attraction?
This is Chaos Theory. Welcome to the Jeff Goldblum Chaos Theory podcast.
Fantastic.
All right, I think that's a good place to end it today.
Yeah, ending with the Jeff Goldblum. That's just magnificent.
It's a big pile of shit.
That is one big pile of shit.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you all for listening.
Yes.
This has been Side Quest, a Quest Bros podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media, support our Patreon, check out our merch store.
We got merch. Put them on your torsos.
There it is. Yeah, thanks to our sponsor, Robin's Nerd Supplies, for always supplying us and just being real cool.
Yeah.
Use code QuestBros, get 10% off at checkout. Use the referral link in the description. Michael, do you have anything you want to add?
No, not particularly. Although I've been having a lot of fun with these microphones.
Yeah, well, good. Hopefully we can do this again.
This is
In
very
this studio.
fun.
But thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.